Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of SAP Security. In this session we are going to discuss about segregation of duty, which is called SOD. First thing is what we need to understand, what is segregation of duty? Why do we need to segregation of duty? That is what the main thing we need to understand. Why do we need to have segregation of duty? For example, here in this slide, first we have a purchase requisition, that is ME51N. This is a transaction code where you will create a purchase requisitions. Let's assume, okay, I am the user, I have ME51, I created the purchase requisition. As per the business process in SAP, this purchase requisition will be converted into a purchase order. In fact, you don't need to have a purchase requisition. In some scenarios, you can directly create a purchase order. If I am the purchase manager, okay, that also we can eliminate. I have authorization to create purchase orders, so I created a purchase orders and gave it to some vendor. I also have authorization for vendor creation. I created the vendor and created a purchase order in this vendor's name and given to the vendor. Then vendor comes back and gives me an invoice and the goods. Okay, then in a normal scenario what will happen is we'll go to the transaction. Okay, we will enter the purchase order what we have issued. Based on the invoice, we will do the invoice verification. Then the goods is posted. That means there is some stock which comes into your warehouse or the stores. One that is done, MIGO is done, then that invoice is given to somebody else to do the posting. Let's assume I am the person, I have authorization to do Miro in posting invoice receipt. So I can do the invoice receipt IR, then invoice is posted, then I will do the payment processing, that's F110. Payment is processed. So the whole scenario you can see quite a few of transaction code. Yeah, you have to create inventor master, creating purchase order, then good receipt, invoice posted and payment run. So we have talking about quite few transaction code. If I have all this transaction code or 5 or 6 transaction code what we are talking about with my authorizations, then I can do the entire process of purchase till pay. Now the problem is, let's assume that vendor what I am creating is somebody, my friend, or some of my own fake vendor master, or it's a vendor which I am creating of my own with some name. So what I can do, or what this person, what the user can do, you can create a vendor of some on your own name or some bank account, put the bank account, create a purchase order and issue the purchase order. Goods is not in, then you will enter the goods as come in and you will do the invoice verification and you will do the payment processing. Once the payment processing is done, most of the bigger companies they will have an auto transfer. Let's say you do a payment on auto transfer, you F110 and process the payment, then the money is in the bank account, then actually the goods is not there. So this is a very high risk. So in this business scenario, from purchase till pay, a person who have authorization, they can take easily money out the company without even knowing, without anybody knowing. So it's a highly risk. So how do we control this risk? In order to control this risk, we have segregation of duty. So we need to segregate the whole purchase till pay based on our authorization concept. So how do we do that? Let's say in the purchase, from the beginning we come back again, creating purchase requisition. This will be done by a salesperson or a service person or some kind of the requester or a manufacturing person who will raise a purchase request. And they said, okay, I need to purchase some items like this. Then this purchase request goes to somebody as a purchase manager. The person who is creating purchase requisition is different, and the person who is converting this purchase requisition into a purchase order is different. So you need to have two person. It's not one person. The person who have the authorization for ME51 in our case should not have authorization for ME21. So this person is different, who is for example manufacturing or a plant manager who wanted to manufacture something, he wanted to purchase some items, so he's a plant manager, and the person who is creating purchase order is a purchase manager. So two different person. This authorization ME21 is not available with this user, and the ME51 is not available with this user. So we have created a segregation of duty, so it's not available. So if something has to happen, then these people has to come together. The concept behind this is, as we also seen in our previous example, 4i principle and 8i principles, you segregate the whole process, then the fraud happening within the organization is quite less. So once the purchase order is created, then it has to go to good receipt. The good receipt is the transaction code MIGO. The MIGO is not available with purchasing person. Purchase manager and purchase department is different, but the stores or the warehouse is different. So warehouse manager is a different person who will store this stuff. Then he will receive the goods from the supplier. So once he receives from the goods, then he will verify the goods, everything is fine, he will post the goods. Once that is done, then it goes for invoice posting. Invoice receipt, what we will do is we will also reconcile whether the now whole quantity is delivered or partial quantity is delivered, or there is a difference between the purchase order issued and the invoice. These are all done in Miro, and this will be done by a different person who will be reconciling this one. Once all this process is done, the payment process is done by accounting department, AP. Accounting will never have this authorization. The accounting authorization will not be with any of these people. So like this we can segregate the entire process from purchase to pay to different users and make sure these authorizations are available only with the specific users and not with other users. This concept is called segregation of duty. Maybe I can give you one more example. For example, in HR. In HR, as you know, the payroll is a very sensitive topic in HR. So what happens in HR when you wanted to run a payroll? First we will simulate the payroll, then the payroll will be released. Then once the payroll is released, then productive payroll, then prepare the bank transfer, that will be prepared by FI, and then they create the payment file and it will be sent to bank. That means the payment file is, again, it could be some kind of interface between our ERP system to bank, which will create some file and it will be sent to the bank. Once this has come from the source which is coming, then it will be automatically processed by the bank. Though this is a very simple example on HR. So this also need to be segregated. You cannot have all this authorization with one user. The payroll processing and bank transfer is two different things. It has to be with account payable. Bank transfer is done by account payable and payroll is done by HR. On HR also we can segregate each functionality of HR. For example, here modifying payroll master such as salary in PA30, then processing the payroll should not be with one person. Let's say I can change my own salary if, for example, if you don't use the PPAN or authorization object which we have seen. Let's say we have PPAN also. The person who is, I have somebody who is working in our organization, or maybe I can create some dummy personal account and put a basic salary for that particular user, particular employee, and run the payroll process. Then what happens is that money will be transferred to the particular bank account, whatever I am entering. So then PA30 maintaining the payroll, and PA03 and PAUX, the payroll processing should not be with one person. It's very quite risky. So we can segregate here. Let's say in the next example, change benefits. This is the report. Then the process payroll should not be with one person. Benefits means like bonus and other kind of stuff, allowances and all this kind of benefits. If it is with one person, then that can also create a problem. Then modifying time data and processing approval, because you may have a policy, let's say based on the time you worked you will be paid additional amount, and that can be also a problem. Then like entering false time data by PA71, that PA71, then PA03 and PAX should not be with one person. This, like, mainly if you see everything, payroll simulation and payroll running will be one specific person. They will not have any other modification authorization, any finance related modification authorization. That will be a very simple segregation of duty. And we can also see printing salary statement by unauthorized person. This is again, it's not a segregation of duty, it may be a critical authorization. Printing salary statement is again a very sensitive information. You cannot allow everybody to print the salary statement. As we seen that if you print the salary statement, then we need to know who can view the salaries. That also very sensitive information. Again, HR is a very sensitive module. As you know, there is different part of the world, they make even viewing some personal information by different person, it seems to be non-compliant with their local country laws. So using the concept called segregation of duties, we can eliminate these kind of issues. We can monitor that these kind of issues. Okay, now you may think, how do I implement this? How do I monitor this? There is lot of solution available from SAP as well as non-SAP products. If you think that, okay, I can assign one role to one user, this I will create for each activity, I will create a role same like what we have done before, then assign to some user, then it will be very difficult for you to control, because you will have so many segregation of duty, then it will be quite difficult to control it manually. In the sense, many people what they do is this kind of segregation of duty, people create one composite role for one job function. For example, in our scenario here, let's say for maintaining payroll master, this is one job role, and payroll processing, there will be one job role or two composite roles. If you are assigning the composite role for maintaining master data, should not have the maintain the processing payroll. We don't assign it. You can control this manually, but it will be quite difficult if you have like this so many segregation of duties, so many roles, then it will manually controlling this will be very difficult. This control which we are right now talking about is in a very high level. You are going to control based on the role name, but what is inside the role, what transaction is inside the role, which you cannot control it based on this manual check. So that you need to be very careful. I'm the security admin, I wanted to add some transaction code, we just add it and put it into production, then you will be still checking the role name. So it's a role based approach. It may not be a very safest way to do it. So what we need to do, how do we need to monitor this? We need to literally get into the object level and monitor this. For this, SAP also have SAP's own product called GRC, SAP GRC, governance, risk and compliance. In the governance, risk and compliance, the segregation of duty is one of the main topic, where we can define each transaction code and each authorization object. We can define it and create a rule set. It's called rule set. Then based on the rule set, then we can monitor this segregation of duties if any users have any conflict in their authorization. Though that will be an object level control. Like this, SAP have GRC, then you have different product called Security Viewer. It's a SAP certified product, but it's a third party product. They also have segregation of duty, some additional tool to monitor this segregation of duty, and CSI tool, and Approva is also another one SAP certified tool. CSI tools also as SAP certified tool. Like this, in the market we have quite a lot of tools which is available to monitor and control this segregation of duties. With this, we are coming to the end of this session. Thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next session. Bye bye.